The Democrats are having a horrible month of November. I mean, think about it. We got the failed Schumer shutdown just a few weeks ago, where the Democrats hijacked the country to get $1.5 trillion, free healthcare for illegal immigrants, $500 million to prop up left-wing propagandist networks like PBS and NPR. Then we got them clamoring for the Epstein files because they were going to sock it to Trump. Only problem was when the files were dropped, they were in there redacting and making up, with these emails, acting like there was somebody new, just to find out that it was the main survivor that clearly said Trump did nothing wrong, treated her excellently, to find out that the Democrat mega donor, Jeffrey Epstein, who they considered to be a whale, was giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrats, was even acting as a dating coach and like a best friend confidant to Larry Summers, President Clinton's former Secretary of the Treasury, and he was the economic advisor to Barack Obama. Then we got Obama's chief counsel, the head lawyer for the White House, Kathy Rumler, messaging with Epstein and doing her thing. We got Stacey Plaskett getting legal questions to ask during the hearing from Jeffrey Epstein. And on the heels of all of that, now we've got the lamestream media that is pushing back on these Democrats in a way that I've never seen it. As a matter of fact, in this video, you're going to see Hakeem the Dream Jeffries, a.k.a. Timu Obama, a.k.a. the Brooklyn Barack, as his campaign team called him when they were soliciting money from the known PDF file convicted felon Jeffrey Epstein in 2013, and even invited the man to dinner to better get to know the Brooklyn Barack. And so now he's making his rounds on these networks, and man, they are kicking his butt because, usually when the Democrat goes on, they can spew all types of nonsense and there's never any pushback, never any pushback. And at the first sign of a follow-up question or pushback, Democrats lose it. Remember the California Congresswoman that's running for governor, Katie Porter, was asked the question, asked among all other people. She melted down.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%? Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election? Yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
argumentative. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, on this video, you're going to see Hakeem Jeffries lose it in a way that I've never seen it. Now, typically, he talks like he's some type of cyborg or a robot, like he has no natural bone in his body, because the way that he speaks, and you would expect with him being a brother, he would have a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more pizzazz. He didn't get that when they cloned Obama. They forgot to give him swag and charisma and personality, and they made him more like a cyborg robotic guy. That's what he is. Have you ever seen him campaign before? I haven't. I just see him speak when they doing these propaganda Democrat things at the podium, and he's still talking like this and thinking he's moving the crowd. I can't see how anybody will vote for this man. But what you gonna see is Becky Quick from CNBC go toe-to-toe with him, and she's gonna give massive pushback, and he's gonna lose it. But then we're gonna see Kirsten Welker she's going to push back on him. And these are things we never see. And watch what happens when he faces pushback. He completely melts down. And I'm sick of these freaking Democrats, because what they do, they take what they're doing and then they flip it. They rename it. And they got so many ignorant, low IQ voters that fall for the bull crap that it can concern somebody who really doesn't realize what's going on. The media is trying to downplay this movement that's happening. The MAGA movement is real. And they like to put up things like, oh, Trump's poll numbers are dipping. With all of the negative media that they put out, with all of these radical federal judges blocking everything, the fact that President Trump still has a positive approval rating says a lot about what he's doing, about his character, and about his team. And I tell you what, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm riding it out with him. Unlike those demon rats, they flip when they realize somebody, the people might not agree with somebody, they kick them to the curb like they did with Joe Biden. We have to avoid doing that on our side. We have to realize the demon rats, they have motivation because President Trump is draining the swamp and he's destroying their slush funds. He's destroying these networks that they've taken generations to build up, to create their holding force, which is how we've got the country as deranged as it is now. And so we got to stand with them. They want us to splinter. They want people to do what Marjorie Taylor Greene did and flip. And as far as with her, she did all that flipping just to be getting trashed by Democrats and calling her weak because she jumped out of the race after going at it with Trump for a week. And they say they've been doing it for years. And she was a main cause of this, that. She bent the knee and it burned her. And so we have to realize we got rhinos on our side that are trying to destroy it from within. Their motto is, if they can't run it, they'll wreck it. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation. You hitting that like button, it helps the channel a great deal. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And when you do, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. That way YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. And we have to stop them. So I'm not going to talk too much on that, but check out this article title. Hakeem Jeffries gets into a heated clash with CNBC hosts after being pressed on ACA negotiation. Jeffries told CNBC's Becky Quick, shame on you, after she suggested Democrats want subsidies to lapse for political gain. So check this out. Now, before I even get into that clip, because they're talking about ACA subsidies, I want you to listen to what Hakeem said. And this is in recent testimony just this past week. Check this out.
And under current law, undocumented immigrants are already ineligible for Medicaid, the ACA exchanges, and for SNAP benefits. Not a single undocumented immigrant in this country gets a dime in federal taxpayer dollars for any part of comprehensive Medicaid coverage. Not one. And under
Now, did you just hear that bold-faced lie? And did you see what I meant by the way that he talked? But that was a bold-faced lie. These folks are psychopaths, and they will lie. And I don't know how their voters don't see this, and they just still believe everything. That's why they're so disappointed whenever they say, Trump did this. And they go crazy. They jump all over the internet. They're posting stuff. They're sending me messages. They're trying to troll me. And then when it blows up, everybody likes to say, well, you know, both sides are bad. They try to do the both sidesism or the what about this? No, you just tried to slander somebody based off what these lying Democrats said. And when it blows up in your face, now you want to try to be peaceful and be cool. And it's both sides. But if it would have went your way, you'd have been dancing in the streets and clowning all in my face. So I have no sympathy for them. Now let's check him out as he goes toe-to-toe with Becky Quick. Or should I say, she took it to him, because it wasn't even a toe-to-toe confrontation. She went at him. But watch this.
To get done, you are going to need at least some Republicans to come over. Why not start with a 1-year extension or potentially even a 2-year extension?
Well, Leader Schumer offered a 1-year extension in the context of trying to end the Trump Republican shutdown.
Yeah, but that's different. What I'm talking about, what you have now. Let's not go back to what's done in the past and what has not been extended. If you want to get something that has actually done, you need to do something that will have bipartisan.
You can ask me the question. You can ask me the question. I'll provide the answer.
Question instead of going back.
I'll provide the answer. No. I'm providing an answer in order to provide context. Republicans have repeatedly refused to take yes for an answer. It was a very reasonable multi-year extension that was offered. It was a 1-year straight extension plus a multi-year process through a bipartisan commission to more permanently resolve the Affordable Care Act issue. So having that context is absolutely important, regardless of what you may think.
It's important context to make me realize that I don't think you want to get a deal done. I think this is something where you'd like to see the rates go higher and allow the Republicans to hang themselves with that. Is that the answer?
That's absolutely a ridiculous assertion. And really, shame
3 years
on you
is not
for
going to get passed. So what do you do?
Shame on you for saying that, because we're fighting. It's not a partisan issue for us. In fact, the states that are most impacted as it relates to an Affordable Care Act tax credit expiration are all Republican states. We're talking about West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, right? Tennessee. Over and over and over again, we can go through the list. That's why you probably have some Republicans who would sign on if you guys could come up with something that actually looks like a bipartisan deal. Listen, this is not a partisan fight for us. It's a patriotic fight. We're fighting for every constituent, even if Republicans aren't necessarily fighting for their own constituent. We want to find a bipartisan path forward. And that is what we've repeatedly indicated we want to do. Like, we want to sit down and have a reasonable discussion, find common ground to address this issue. Now, Republicans said in the House they were willing to deal with the Affordable Care Act tax credit issue after the government funding agreement was reached. Well, now the government shutdown is over, and there's still been no conversations with House Republican leaders. Mike Johnson never said that. The leader never said that. You do have Republicans, though, who would agree with you on something if it was actually bipartisan in nature. That's what I'm trying to get at. Actually, Mike Johnson actually did say that there was always a plan to specifically deal with the expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. In fact, he said that repeatedly. So I'm not sure what you're referencing. I think their plan is something that looks more like an HCA, which I'm guessing you would say is dead on arrival, too. If you want to set up these healthcare plans that are funded instead of going through the ACA, I'm assuming you would say that's dead on arrival, too, because there have been Republicans who've put that forward. Am I wrong in thinking you would not go along with that? What I'm saying is that what's in front of us is the immediate expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Republicans have had all year to deal with this issue, and they've refused to do it. So they're the ones who are not interested in finding a resolution to a healthcare crisis that they've created, including passing a bill that enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. And because of their policies, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing throughout America, including in rural parts of the country. Which would why it would be nice to see a one-year extension so that none of these things happen immediately and give you all time to actually try and work on bipartisan situations, rather than a 3-year extension that basically kicks it down until the next administration is here.
Speaking about Medicaid and Medicare, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and a partner of the channel, and that's Chapter. Chapter has helped seniors all across America make sure that they got the best Medicare plans available. Open enrollment is right now. And I'll tell you, it would suck to find out, because you don't know unless you check, that your prescriptions are no longer covered and your doctors are out of network with the plan you're currently on. Chapter has highly skilled and unbiased professional agents that do everything they can to give you the information to make sure you got the best Medicare plan. At the end of the day, it's a phone call that's less than 20 minutes and it's totally free, that you can call and speak with one of the professional agents. And if you got the best that's available, great. But if not, they'll make sure that you can get what it is that you need. So make sure that you call that number on the screen or go visit the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and let Chapter make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. Now, see, several things Hakeem Jeffries said, he said the Republicans shut down. You see what they do? They switched the narrative when everybody knows it was Democrats that did the shutdown. If you tell a lie big enough and you repeat it enough, the people will start believing it. So they start saying Republicans shut down, Republicans shut down. Again, you got ignorant, low IQ voters who will believe that. Then he said this is a Republican healthcare crisis when not one Republican voted for Obamacare. Matter of fact, they said that this would happen. The Democrats also were in power in 2022 when they set this expiration for December 31st, 2025. And so the fact that he can sit there with that smug face, which I wish I could just grab him and shake him up and smack him a few times, allegedly, because, you got some of these weaklings that will hear me say that and say, oh, he's making threats, and just smack the piss out of him to help him realize, brother, we're sick and tired of your lies. And listen, man, it's infuriating to know that you've got dumb people out there, and forget ignorant. When I say ignorant, that's only lacking information. You've got dumb people who will have the information and just willingly will go along with the Democrats because they'll say things like, I heard a woman today say, she was speaking with some Democrats and said, hey, listen, who would you rather deal with? Somebody that says the things that you want to hear but may not get them done, or somebody that talks to you tough and says the uncomfortable things, like it is? You would be shocked to find out that 60% of the people that she spoke with, Democrats, said that they would rather somebody just tell them what they want to hear. And here's what happens. I knew people who I was warning during the Biden administration when the election was coming. I say, look, man, if you vote for this dude, he's going to tear stuff up, that he's not right. They're going to try to sink this country. Oh, I don't like Trump. I had one person say, so you didn't vote for Trump strictly because you don't like him, but you know his policies are better. Yeah, I just don't like him. So then Biden comes in and things start going down. You got the lockdowns. People were struggling. And I had some of those same people try to come back around me and complain about it. Oh, I ate them up. And that's what really pisses you off, because you know, if these demon rats, these low IQ voters get their way and voted these fools back in, they will be the ones that are destroyed the most and complaining the most. And guess what will happen? They'll run around and vote for the next one again, and then complain even more because the Democrats have given them an out. Hey, listen, don't blame us, blame Trump. Even though out of the last 16 years, Trump was only in office 4 years and 10 months, and Democrats were in office to 12 years. No. We can't talk about that. That's the reality that they don't want their people to know. But check out this clip with Kirsten Welker, where she's gonna take it to him also. And listen, did you see how he melted down in that last clip? Check this one out. He don't melt down as bad, but when they're asked a follow-up question, they lose their mind because they know that they're lying. And they know that what they say, people are listening to with glee, and others are listening, waiting to dissect it and eat it up. So they're not prepared for that. Why? Because you can't justify the policies and the things they want to do intelligently. You can't justify that. You can't justify why 20 million illegal immigrants should stay here, overwhelming the system. You can't justify why we should be adding subsidies to a program that Democrats said was going. There is a clip of Obama saying that health care for the family would be about the same price as a cable bill.
Health care is not a privilege for the fortunate few. It is a right. And I knew that if we didn't do something about our unfair and inefficient health care system, it would keep driving up our deficits. It would keep burdening our businesses. It would keep hurting our families. And it would keep holding back economic growth. Now, knowing you can offer your family the security of health care, that's priceless. Now you can do it for the cost of your cable bill, probably less than your cell phone bill.
Well, heck, if the cable bill is for freaking the One World building in New York, or if it's the electric bill for the freaking Jacksonville Stadium we got here in Jacksonville, maybe, but not for an electric bill of an average family. Matter of fact, it's the amount of a freaking house note and a car note right now combined. But check this out.
Leader Jeffries, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer did make a new offer, effectively saying, let's extend Obamacare subsidies for 1 year in exchange for reopening the government for 1 year. You have said that you would support that proposal, but just last month you said this. Take a look.
A 1 year extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits is not acceptable. It's a non-starter.
So, Leader Jeffries, what changed?
Well, the proposal that I was making reference to in October was something that was floated out there by a handful of rank and file House Republicans, and that was immediately rejected by House Republican leadership because they have no interest in driving down the high cost of living for everyday Americans. The Schumer proposal, of course, was offered in good faith.
Leader Jeffries, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer did.
I mean, this man is such a bold-faced liar. Now, we just saw a video of him rejecting it in October. A month later, now he's like, yeah, you know what we want to offer to the Republicans, is at least a 1 year extension. What he's wanting to do is a 3 year extension, which is a non-starter. You're not going to get 3 years. And 1 year, to me, oh my God, just doing this at all. At the end of the day, in order to fix something, sometimes you got to just you got to break it completely. And I get it. We're in this position now where if we don't do this with Trump, if we don't allow President Trump to do this, y'all, I don't know if it's ever going to be done. He's one of the only ones that got the resources, the connections, and the cojones to make this happen. But Congress, I'm getting real sick and tired of Congress. And I'm realizing, like, you got Mike Johnson, he wants to stand up there and always talk like, we've got all this decorum. And John Thune, we got this decorum. And they don't realize you've got a raging bull running up on you. And if you think you'll be able to stand there and say, well, we're just going to talk to the bull and we're going to rationalize. No, the bull is going to run you over, eat your large intestines, and spit them out. That's what's happening. And these folks are they talk about, like, even with the filibuster. Do you know that if the Senate Republicans just decided, okay, screw that 60 vote thing, we got to get this through, how many more things we can get done? But they keep saying, well, no, there's decorum, blah, blah, blah. As if the Democrats get control again, that decorum goes out the window. They don't care. And that's why some of these Republicans we got in there, they got to go. They're not fighters. They're so used to the whole old school game of you throw the ball over to me, okay, and I let you do your thing. Now it's my turn to do my thing, playing their little dance. These new Democrats, these left-wing Democrat socialists, they don't play by those rules. They play by the rules of when you throw me the ball, I don't plan on ever giving it back to you. They want to pack the court. They want to remove the filibuster. And if they got their way, they'll try to take away gun rights. They'll make it to way. Do you know in California right now, one of the candidates for governor, Eric Swalwell, who slept with Fang Fang, is saying that he believes people should be able to vote by phone.
I want us to be able to vote by phone. I think every Californian
vote by phone.
Yeah, if we can do our taxes, do our make our healthcare appointments, make essentially do your banking online, you should be able to vote by phone. Make it safe, make it secure, but it's actually already happening all over the United States. I want us to be a blue state that doesn't do just a little bit better than like Georgia or Alabama when it comes to like voting access. I want us to max out democracy. Also, as it relates to democracy, if you wait in line for 30 minutes or more, if you do want to vote in person, I think you should fine every county for every minute that a person has to wait longer. We have to be better, not just a little bit better than the other states. The DMV. I don't think Californians should have to go in person to the DMV anymore. I think we can do that virtually. I think you can have the DMV employees do it virtually, but that's a lot of real estate.
Is that the most popular position?
Digitize the DMV. Digitize the DMV.
Today, yeah.
We can modernize the state, and I look forward to bringing these ideas to Californians.
These demon rats are coming to try to destroy. That's why there's such a full court press on stopping President Trump. And then every time Republicans start being and moaning, when I say being, you know what word I want to use. When they want to start complaining and moaning, they don't realize there's another conservative or maybe an independent who leans right that hears that. And they say, oh, and the Democrats are so willing to lie that they'll jump up there and tell everybody it's all sunshine and rainbows. You're going to get everything, free this and free that. And you got these low IQ voters. Then you got the deranged militant Antifa type that are motivated. But on the Republican side, we are not pissed enough. We got to get active. I'm sending messages out to congressmen, senators. Matter of fact, I'm setting it up where I'm going to start interviewing these folks. And when I interview them, it's going to be, we have a real politics platform that the interviews will be on. I'll let you know when that comes about because we're setting everything up now. But this is a real deal thing. This isn't one of those times where when the midterms come, you say, well, I wanted to go, but I'm not. No, we need everybody out because I'm telling you, they're setting it up and they're going to get their people there in droves because everybody says typically when whoever wins the presidency at that 2-year mark, the other party takes control. It's been 3 times that didn't happen. And we're going to make this a 4th time that it did not happen, where the Democrats do not regain control. As a matter of fact, you got the courts helping because a radicalized leftist judge blocked Texas's redistricting, blocked it, said it was racial. Went to the Supreme Court. They looked at it and said, racial? This has nothing to do with race. You and I both know it's political. Everything Texas did, they were well within the law. And that's why when they claim that President Trump is lawless and all this, everybody knows how these demon rats get down. So you better believe they're dotting all of their I's and crossing all of their T's because they know now. The first Trump term, they didn't know. This one knows. We know. And so they're making sure everything is above board, but that doesn't stop them from lying. Like Hakeem saying, oh, no illegal immigrant got Medicaid. That's a lie, and we know it. Or Republican shutdown. That's a lie, and we know it. Or the fact that Democrats are fighting for everyday Americans. That is a tremendous big lie, and we know it. But they don't care. So, man, we gotta listen. This is if you've been somebody that's watched it and you watch the videos and you go vote. I'm asking you sincerely, at least as we go on into this 2026 midterm, to please just intensify your participation. Our lives and our livelihood depends on it. You saw what they did under Biden. If they come back in, they're going to stop everything Trump is doing. He's going to be tied up in impeachment hearings. It's going to get ugly. We can't let that happen. Or should I say, we have to put ourselves in a position to win. Instead of focusing on what we can't let happen, let's focus on what we can work to make happen. And that is working to make the Republican Party win the House and win the Senate. We need them both. We get all 3. Well, we got all 3, actually. We can maintain this. Oh, my God, it's glorious. But if we don't, things can get really ugly real fast. So if you've hung out and you watched this video all the way through, I want to say I thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Most importantly, make sure that you stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.